Guru Stotram. Sahana bhavatu, sahano bhunaktu, sahaviryam karavavahai, tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Guru Stotram. Akhanda mandalakaram vyaptam yena characharam tatpadam darsitam yena tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Ajnanatimirandhasya jnananjanashalakaya chakshurmilitam yena tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Gurureva Param Brahma, Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Stavaram Jangamam Vyaptam, Yatkim Chissacharacharam, Tatpadam Darsitam Yena, Tasmai Gurave Namaha. Chinmayam Vyapiyat Sarvam, Trailokyam Sacharacharam, Tatpadam Darsitam Yena, Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Tvameva Mata cha Pita, Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha, Tvameva Vidya Dravidam, Tvameva Sarvam Amadeva Deva, Tvameva Sarvam Gurudeva Deva. Hari Om. So we are doing the second chapter. It is Panchabhuta Vivekaha, where Vidyaranya is analyzing the world. What is this world? And this analysis of the whole chapter, as I said, based on Chandogya Upanishad, Sadvidya, that is the 6th chapter of Chandogya Upanishad, where the creation is described. In that, the teacher, Uddalaka, asks his son, Svetaketu, do you know, knowing which you will know everything? Eka vijnanena sarva vijnanam bhavati. By knowing which you will know everything. And the student, his son, returned from the Gurukula after 12 years of intensive study. He says, my teacher didn't teach me about this. How can you know? Knowing one, how can you know everything? If I know chemistry, I won't know biology, I don't know physics, I don't know anything. I wish it's possible, then I don't have to study all the subjects. If I study one subject, then I will know everything. So it's impossible. So how can that be possible? I said it is possible under one circumstance where if I know the material cause, then I will know all the effects from that material, in essence. So essentially, if I know gold, then I know all the golden ornaments, they are nothing but gold. All you are doing is changing only name and a form, but essentially I know everything. I have the substantive knowledge. Only the superficial knowledge I won't know. Superficial means imposed on top of gold, the name and a form. name, ring and a form. The qualities of the ring are different from a bangle, and which is a name given to a form, but it is just a gold. So if I know gold, I know all the gold ornaments that are created in the past, that is created now, that will be created in the future. So Eka Vijnanena, knowing one thing, I will know everything. But that one thing that I had to know is the material cause for the creation. If I know the efficient cause, then I won't know the material cause. So in all these creations, there are two aspects involved. One is the intelligent cause, and another is the material cause. Intelligent cause is the one who is creating it. A pot maker is an intelligent cause. He knows how to make a pot. But he needs a material to make a pot. So material he has to go and search for somewhere else, and out of that material he will know how to make a pot. So in all these creations that we know of, or that we are familiar, the material cause and the intelligent cause are different. But in the case of creation of the universe, there cannot be two different causes, because if the God is going to create, if God is a creator and he is going to create, then we ask the question, where did he get material for creation? No other philosophy asks this question other than Vedanta. Vedanta says, how did he create? Where was the material? Since he cannot go and search for material, just like pot maker went in search for clay, he cannot go in search of material to create, so it has to come from himself. Yathas, just as from the gold comes out and creates itself into different ornaments, he created the whole material from himself. So he is the material cause also. So this is where some of the philosophies or the darshanas, the philosophies differ, where both Advaita and Visishta Advaita emphasize that material comes from him only. There is no other material. Whereas Advaita philosophy says intelligent cause is different from a material cause. There are two causes all the time. And several other philosophies like Sankhya, Yoga and all that, they rely on to duality even in essence also. But here the Chandogya Upanishad starts with the statement that there is a possibility of knowing one thing, you will know everything, provided that possibility is knowing the material cause for the universe. So why do you say the Brahman himself is the material cause? Because the Upanishad says so. Yatova imani bhutani jayante ena jatani jivanti et prayam sabisham visanti tad vijnasasva tad brahmeti, from which the whole universe came, by which it is sustained. When it says it is sustained, that means it's a material cause. So gold sustains the ring, gold sustains the bangle, gold sustains the bracelet. I cannot remove the gold and give you back the bangle, right? So gold and bangle are together as one, yet they are inseparable. At the same time, ring is not necessarily gold. If you go into the dictionary and say ring, does it say meaning of ring is not gold? But here is ring is gold, right? Because when you say give me ring, you are giving me gold. When I ask for gold ring, not iron ring, but if you ask me a ring, say you are giving me gold. Hey, I don't want gold, I want only ring. So how can you give it? I cannot have this superimposed name and form without the substratum, without the noun that really supports the name and the form. So the whole universe, according to our scriptures, is nothing but Sadeva Saumya Idamagramasiti Ekameva Advitiyam. What was there before creation? What was there before ring came? What was there before bangle came? What was there before necklace came? Gold alone was there. Gold itself became many. So why did it become many? Say, why not? I can become many, therefore I became many. Because it is my vibhuti, it's my glory to become, because it is malleable, ductile or whatever, so it can become many, and varieties of variety ornaments it became. Then I asked Mr. Gold, say, why did you become this kind of ring, not the other kind of ring that I like? I don't like all these rings that you have, but I like different type of ring. And a goldsmith or a sharp fellow will say, so you only buy that kind, nobody else will buy these other kinds. So I am marketing for the demand. Right? He has to make, depending upon this type of ring, that type of ring, that type of ring, because there is a demand for it. So where is the demand come from? From the desires of people who want to wear varieties of different types of rings and bangles and necklaces. That's why a goldsmith provides varieties of things. So therefore, why this kind of creation? There is a demand for this kind of creation because of the vasanas of your previous life. So you follow, the whole logic is exactly identical. But give me an example where, say, where is the upadana karana, that is the material cause, and nimitta karana, the intelligent cause, one and the same? Because everywhere I see, they are all different. If I want to build a house, I may have know-how of how to build a house, but I need to go to Home Depot or somewhere else to buy all the things for needed. So material cannot come from me. Is there an example that you can give me in reality where the material cause and the intelligent cause are one and the same? Says yes, nature provides that, and that's what is called dream world, where I myself, when I am sleeping, the mind projects, is the creator, and creating because of the vasanas that are suppressed and uppressed provide a motivating force for the mind to project, and itself enters as a subject as one of the creators in that. So the intelligent cause is coming from the same mind, material cause also coming from the same mind. But that's real material. Who says? A dreamer says. If it's real material, when you get up, what happens to real material? So you think, oh, that's not real. So reality or the utility or observability, all those things are not basis for the real reality. What is real? That which remains the same all the time is only real. That keeps changing cannot be real. So he told me something, next day he changes and he's told a different story. That means he's not telling the truth. So the truth is that which remains the same irrespective of the time and space. So what doesn't change alone is real. So now is the ring is there. Ring has become a bangle because I don't like rings anymore. I want a bangle. I want to make a bangle out of it. So what happened to ring? Ring has changed into a bangle. But gold in the form of a ring is the same gold in the form of a bangle. Gold has not undergone any change in this so-called transformation. Right? And scripture gives a very peculiar example in the Chandogya where it is a transformationless transformation called the Vivartavadam. It is not Parinamam. It is not a transformation of a irreversible transformation or reversible transformations that we are familiar, but it is a transformationless transformation, just as gold becoming into many without changing from something other than gold. That means gold still remains as a gold, but still there are varieties of forms and names are there. So this example is from the scripture itself. In the Chandogya, it says, Yatha Saumya Ekena Lohamanina Sarvam Lohamayam Vigyata Vacharambanam Vikaro Namadheyam. So this Arambhanam, Vakaram means it's only speech. It means it's only name and a form you are giving for these varieties of ornaments. It is nothing but just gold only. Loham iti eva satyam. That alone is real. Satyam means that which doesn't undergo any transformation. So in the same way, since this example is given, in the same way, creation is Sadeva Saumya Namagrama. Existence alone was there before and it became many. When it became many, existence itself the cause and became is effects. So effects are nothing but nothing is not different from cause. So the effects that are created are not different from the cause other than superimposed, which are names and forms. Just as the gold is a cause, it still remains a gold, but the superimposition of name and a form, ring is different, bangle is different, necklace is different, bracelet is different, and each has its own qualifications, and those qualifications do not affect the gold. So that means the ring qualifications, the ID, OD, ellipticity, all those things have nothing to do with the gold properties. Properties of the gold are different from any of these. So it is unaffected by all these transformations. Now apply the same thing to the existence. What was there before? Existence alone was there before. Now when you say existent alone, that means after transformation, now existence still exists, but now in the different forms. Because tadaichyata bahu, let me become many, he himself became many. So Chandogya Upanishad in the process tells it is not really inert existence. What was existence is Sat and Chit, which is consciousness and existence together as one unit. That was there, which is projecting all over. So that was the essence of Chandogya, and he is taking one by one in terms of how the transformation is occurring. In that transformation from Atma, which is pure consciousness existence. First is Akasha. Akasha means space. Akashat Vayu. Vayu is the air. Vayu Agni. Agni is fire, energy. And then Apaha. Apaha is water. And Prithvi. Prithvi is earth. So Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apaha, Prithvi. Space, air, fire, water, earth. How do we know? That's what the scripture says. That's the Chandogya Upanishad. Thakur says, Are Atma Akasha Sambhutaha Akashat Vayu Agni. So in the say first from Atma Akasha is born, and from Akasha next is born. So when it goes into this step, each one picks up a property of its own plus the property of the original. So if you look at the same way, this is a sequence of creation. So first is the Akasha, means space. From Atma, which is all pervading, because Ekameva Advitiyam, and Akasha comes. Therefore, it retains that subtlety of pervasiveness of the original, plus it picks up a tangible one, which is called Shabda. Shabda is sound. So from the sound, I can locate something. Space can be located, or spatial coordinates, conditioned space can be located by Akasha. If there is no conditionings, then space cannot be defined. If nothing in the whole universe, no object at all, then space cannot be defined. That's a part of the problem. So if you ask where does the Big Bang occur? Where does the Big Bang occur? The question, where is a location? Right? That means you have already a space has to be there to locate where it occurred. But if you look at this, it's a singularity, which means we don't know. Singularity in the science means we don't know anything about it. That means space itself created with the bang. If you really want to know this, you can come back to where the Big Bang occurred, because the galaxies are separating themselves further and further. Galaxies are separating further and further. If we extrapolate backwards, it will meet to the point where who is doing the extrapolation. It will meet at the observer where he is doing the extrapolation. So the Big Bang occurred everywhere, wherever the observer is. I follow? But everywhere he is nowhere because there is no space. So it's a very peculiar. So same exactly, if you say where this thought existing, it is everywhere. But creation is also everywhere. What came out of which space, which is also everywhere. There is no space where there is no space where space is not there. So space is all pervading. That's why idam purnam. This idam is, this entire universe is infinite, according to our scriptures. Now, in this, we have to understand this whole process, because what we can see through our senses of Shabda, Sparsa, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. Shabda is sound, Sparsa is touch, Rupa is form or color, Rasa is taste, Gandha is smell. So these are the 5 senses that we have, and only with these 5 Jnanendriyas, sense organs, I can perceive the world. If none of the 5 sense organs are not functioning, I am almost like dead, right? Because I have no way to interact with the world outside. Now, implication is, for me to recognize the world, I need these 5 senses, right? Without the 5 senses, I cannot perceive the world. That means, world should be there, and my senses should be functioning, and the senses have to make a contact with the world, and then only I can perceive. If senses are not making contact with the world, now we ask a question, is the world there? How do you know? How do you know if the world is there? So this happens in the deep sleep state, where senses are folded, where you have senses are not going out to perceive any world. Therefore, we have no way of knowing whether the world is there or not. Oh, when you are sleeping, the world is there. I was going all over the world. One fellow may say, but how do you know? But yeah, you are going, but I didn't know. You were not even there for me to go. So you have to wake me up to know. If I wake me up, my mind and senses already come back. So the rule of the thumb is, existence of the world is established by the knowledge of its existence. Right? Follow? This exists because I know. How do I know? Through my senses. So, existence of anything in the world can only be established by a knowledge of the existence. That's why Nama comes. Nama and Rupa. Nama means what? Knowledge of the object. Naming. Naming is knowing. Right? When I say this is a ring, so who said nice a ring? So I made some form and called it as a name and call it a ring, and then told everybody this is ring. Right? That's how the child learns when the mother says, hey beta, that is a cow. Whether looking at the pictures, he says that is a cow. So white thing is there, that is a cow. Grazing on the grass, as a cow. Next time when he says there's a black cow there, he says, beta, that's also a cow. So it was white thing before it became black here. So that is also cow, this is also cow. The child will develop a general attributes of a cow, which is called jati. Jati is, there are attributes that are common to black cow, white cow, brown cow. Every cow has, by looking at it, hey, this is a cow. But the black, white, brown, red are vyakti. Vyakti means individual properties. So child will start learning all this. These are individual properties, but they are not generic properties. The generic properties become jati. Okay? Now, cows are all having certain generic properties. If you really ask me what is a generic property, don't ask me. Nyaya means Indian logic. Cow has a cowness, which is different from horseness. That horse has, which can be identified, and man has a manness. So this ness is added in order to qualify something that I can differentiate from one jati to other jati. Okay. Now sajati means of same, having same jati. Cows are all having same generic attributes, with different from horses and elephants. So cows belong to one jati, horses belong to another jati, and elephants belong to other jati. This is what a scientist will do, right? In terms of phylum, this is a phylum, this is a class. This classification is a part of differentiation of properties of individual and collective. That's what the whole science. which means I need to differentiate one from the other in order to distinguish this is a cow versus that is a horse, and this is a white cow and that's a black cow. So there are distinguishing features in terms of same jati. There are distinguishing features from one jati to other jati, and that's called vijati. Vijati means different jatis. And within the same vyakti, remember now word vyakti means what? Individual. There are differentiating parts. Even though it is same white cow, in the white cow, legs are different, tail is different, head is different, each one has its own attribute, but together is a cow, but it has a parts. Follow now? That called Swagata Beda. I mean, it's all point of discussion only. So there are Vijati Beda. Now I'm using Sanskrit word. Vijati means different phylums. Cows are different, hearts are different, tables are different, stones are different. These are all one kind of jati. Within this jati, I can may have sub-jati also, I can make it, right? All that is a common attributes. So Indian elephants are different from African elephants. So I'm within the elephant jati, I'm trying to make a subset in that process. But they all belong to a generic tendency. So that is Sajati Beda, Vijati Beda. Vijati means one species to other species, called Vijati, different jatis. And Swagata Beda is internal differences of one to the other. Now go back to our first. What was there before? Existence alone was there before. And what kind of existence? Ekam eva advitiyam. That is a statement. So he's going to analyze only that whole thing is only that. So it is ekam eva advitiyam. So scripture uses three words, and scripture never uses words unnecessarily. So it is one, ekam, eva, it's alone, advitiyam, it is there is no non-dual, so which also means the same thing in a sense, but each one has a specific application where it is negating now the internal differences, Swagata Bedas, the Sajati Bedas and Vijati Bedas. So three words are used to negate each of these Bedas. Right? Now we follow. And what is Beda means? Difference. Beda means difference, differentiating one from the other. So how do I differentiate one from the other? Only based on attributes, qualities. I can differentiate this compared to other. On what basis? On the basis of properties. That's how a chemist will try to differentiate one chemical from the other chemical based on the properties that he studies. Hey, this has this property, that property, which is different from other properties the other object has. So I can only determine what the material is only based on attributes. Okay? Now I'm going to take a little bit. I mean, this is all we think we know, but there is some more things also, because this is a part of the analysis of epistemological analysis. Now, this statement says every object has attributes, right? That's how we can identify. Now, how do we know the object? Only through the attributes, right? Is there really an object there? How do we know? All I know is attributes. That's question number one. Number two, what do I know as attributes? Are they representative of the object, really? Or it is representation of my perceptibility of the object? Follow now? The object has certain attributes, but I have to remember, my senses have to function and gather those attributes and bring that information to the mind to form an image in the mind. Now, whether the attributes may be there, representative of the object, but what my senses bring in need not be reflection of the original attributes. Yes or no? Because if I have color blind, Simple example, a color blind. The object may have certain colors, but I cannot see. So should I say it is of this color? Because my judgment is based on my input of sense input. When I say it is this color, other fellow says, no, it's not that color, it's a different color. Since we argue about it, because our senses are gathering different sense, our senses are sensing differently, because the capacity of the senses is different. As we age, our senses do not properly hear. Properly see and all that. That's one of my wife's complaint also. I think I told that joke already. The fellow said, I don't know, I might have said it. Fellow said, went to doctor and said, I cannot hear, my wife cannot hear. My wife cannot hear. How do you know? Because when I say something, she doesn't respond. I have to shout louder or come closer for her to respond. Said, do one test, stand about 15 feet away, say something, and then if she doesn't respond, come 5 feet forward and again say it. Like that you keep approaching and see when she can hear. So he said, yes, that's a good test. So he stood about 20 feet and says, what are you making? No response. 5 feet forward, what are you making? No response. Another 5 feet forward, what are you making? No response. He come close to the other, what are you making? He says, for the 4th time, I am making soup. so who is having a problem? So senses do not function as we age also. So that's what I do to my wife. So my wife is having a problem. So as we see, the perceptibility changes because of the senses. Now the second aspect is, according to our philosophy, according to nature, is properties belong to the object and properties rest with the object. Which means the color, the form, all other thought properties of the object, it will rest there. My senses have to go there, gather the information and feed to this one. But properties are inseparable from the object. Follow now? Properties are inseparable from the object. So if the form and color belongs to the object, then how is senses able to gather which is inseparable from the object? I am bringing the information to the mind. Follow now? The question is posed. So what really happens is, it's a reflection of the properties that are being brought by the senses. The original properties still remain there. It's a reflection of the properties as though is brought to the senses from there. So form and color remains where it is with the object. Only reflected light from that is coming to me. If it is a red one, you know what the color theory of color is. If it is a red object, all other colors are absorbed except the red color is coming back to me. That's why it looks red there. Okay, that's the theory of color of an object. So the white light has all the properties. So one part of it is absorbed, all other things come to me. So that's why we get different colors perception. But colors are with the object only. It's not coming to me, it's only reflected light. So reflection of the properties are brought by the senses, although properties and the Vishaya, Viseshana, Vishesha are remaining there, because it's all part of it. How am I going to know the object? So it comes to me and form an image in the mind. Senses can only bring in that which can be sensed by the senses, and that information is brought, from which an image is formed out of reflections. Okay? So what I am seeing is only a reflected image of the properties of the object out there. Follow? Is there really object there? Or am I seeing something which is not really there? You know, people have hallucinations. They see a lot of ghosts. Where is the ghost coming up? It's my hallucinations and things like that. So it is a property that senses are bringing something, information. But is there really object out there or not? How do I know? for me to know, I had to go and interact with the object through karmendriyas. Hey, this is a chair. How do you know? I can see. But you are seeing, something imagination. There is no really chair there. No, I can go and sit down there. That means a transaction is involved to establish the reality of the object. Follow now? Hey, this is a stone. How do you know? I can pick it up and hit you. Then you will know it is also stone. So, a transaction where I had to pick up with my hand, right? Karmendriyas involved, throwing all those things involved. That's why the world itself is called transactionally real. Called Vyavaharika Satyam. Vyavahara means transaction. This one, it is called transactionally real. So the whole world is transactionally real because I am using that. Is there really substance there? What is the real substance there? How do we know? Oh, this substance is different from that substance. If we say that is only Nama Rupa only, it's only packaging. What is the real substance? Go to science also, you will have the same problem, because if you keep on looking at any matter, ultimately you get into electrons, protons, but you keep breaking it, you don't know what the substance is. Ultimately somebody said God particle is there. Right? So, what is God particle? An observer is actually a real God particle, but anyway, we do not know what's the real substance there yet. We can keep banging it and we will be creating new particles because of the energy that you put in. So, what is the real particle? Science has a problem, but Vedanta has no problem. It says existence alone was there before creation, and the same existence now exists in names and forms, means with all attributes. So, with all this, the purpose of this discussion is only have a viveka. Viveka means Panchabhuta Viveka, that's a title. Is I had to use a discriminative intellect to differentiate what is changing to that which is changeless in the changing entity as alone ring is real. Ring is changing into bangle, but I have to use a discriminative intellect. The value of the ring and the value of the bangle depends upon the gold only. If it is iron, different angle. If you don't save it, if it is a ring golden, then you put it, lock it properly, right? So the value depends upon the substantive, what is it made up of? And I had to have the value for that value for me to make it valuable, to keep it properly. So what was the substance is original substance that doesn't undergo any change, because everything that changes is not real substance. His existence alone was there, that became many. And that existence is infinite. Ekameva advitiyam. So, this knowledge becomes, that's why Shastram becomes a pramana. Because I cannot see existence. How do I know existence alone is there? You know everything exists. I cannot perceive non-existent things. You have not seen my Gaga Bubu, right? I don't know what is Gaga because I don't know either where it is, what it is. So, non-existent object cannot be perceived. Only existent object can be perceived if the senses are able to function. And of those five senses, it should belong to one of the categories, Sabda, Sparsa, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. Only through properties I can differentiate one existence from other existence. Now you follow? Only through proper, it is same existence existing in different forms and names. I am giving a name for it and based on the properties. And the original Panchabhutas are the five primordial elements that are created where one element to other element is going on with each property picking up. So one has the Akasha as only Shabda, then Vayu has a Shabda plus Sparsha, and Agni, Shabda, Sparsha and Rupa. Rupa is color. Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Agni. Then Jalam, see, all those four plus rasam is there, taste is there, and I don't know what is the taste of fire, but burning taste, I guess. But the earth is all those, plus there is a gandham smell also. And that's where we are actually right now in the fifth sloka. We will do that now. But analysis is why we went through exhaustive analysis is, in my transacting with the world, I should keep this viveka now. So every time I transact with the world, I should be aware of, one is the form and the name, plus I should be aware of the essence from which it came, by which it is sustained, into which it goes back. And that is Brahman, which is Sat Swarupam. And analysis of Sat is required because in this whole universe, I am not able to perceive the Chit aspect of it. I am only perceive and interacting with the Sat aspect of it. So I should be able to determine and differentiate that Sat in everything from the other Nama Rupas. Nama Rupa means, Nama is the name, that means knowledge of it, where Chit is coming from this aspect. Because to have a knowledge, one should be conscious, right? So when a name is given, obviously a consciousness entity has come into picture to give a name for it. So existence of that object has been established by knowledge of its existence by a conscious entity. Some conscious entity has given a name. But when I come to know, then I should know what that is. So the name Gaga Bubu may not know, because you may not be familiar with Gaga Bubu. But if I show this is Gaga Bubu, now you have knowledge of what is Gaga Bubu also. Now a name and associated with it attributes also is there. So naming is knowing. So consciousness comes into picture in the form of a name, but Rupa is coming from the world with its own attributes. So here this philosophy, Vedanta, is different from the idealism and all that, the Vijnana, Bauddha Vijnana. Yeah, where the properties are, the mind itself creates the properties. If the mind itself is created properties, it's not. It says properties are created not by the local mind, but by the Ishvara, which is total mind. So I didn't create a rope, but I am seeing the attributes because the mind forms an image in the mind in that. Then if I see like a rope or a snake, I can say it is a snake or a rope. It may be a rope out there, but my mind may project something else. So, but original rope is still there, not my creation. I didn't create a rope and then I am seeing it. So the world is still there, and it's not my local creation of the local mind. It's the global mind. Now go back to the dream world. When I am in the dream world, I myself created the whole dream world. The waking mind, which is sleeping now, that mind created the whole dream world. But when it enters as one Jiva inside the dream, remember, same mind projected the whole universe. It as though entered as one Jiva and looking at the world of dream world and say, who created all this? It's not the Jiva mind that created all that. It is different from that mind. Because another Jiva also which is created will be seeing something else. So if I, as a dreamer, when I am in the dream, looking at the dream world and ask who created, what is this all the world? It says, Ekab, you yourself created. How can I be created? This is a ridiculous statement and all that. Say, now who is that I that is being referred to? I being referred to the total consciousness that is pervading the whole universe, now in the form of existence alone in the dream world. And a conscious entity as only as a subject there who is conscious of the existence of the whole world. Follow? Because whatever he sees, you will not see, you see. Yes, again, new world has to be created as he goes further and further. So, all that analogy is being provided. Nature has provided such a beautiful analogy to see exactly identical to this. And Now each one, the property alone is used to establish the material also. Without the property, the material cannot be established because there is no fundamental material there. Follow now? What is there? Only existence. And existence cannot have any property. Why existence cannot have property? Suppose existence have a property, then it should property is that which differentiate that compared to with something else. With some other which doesn't have this property, right? If there is something other than existence, then we need to say this existence has some property, that the one other than existence has a different property, then we can differentiate. What is other than the existence is only non-existence because everything else. So other than existence, non-existence, you can say non-existence exists. That is a ridiculous statement because it's a self-contradiction. Therefore, existence alone was there before creation, and that existence cannot have any properties to differentiate. Therefore, it doesn't have Sajati, Vidyati, Swagata Vedas. This forms the Advaita philosophy itself. Where other philosophers, they say existence have properties, internal properties. So, that's without going, because there's a confusion, he's going to criticize that, but that is the property. So here we analyze the Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apaha. Now we go into 5th sloka, I think, right? Bhumau kadakada sabdaha. Bhumau kadakada sabdaha. Katinyam sparsha ishyate. Katinyam sparsha ishyate. Neeladikam chitra rupam. Neeladikam chitra rupam. Madhuramladiko rasaha. Together. Bhumau kadakada sabdaha. Katinyam sparsha ishyate. Neeladikam chitra rupam. Madhuramladiko rasaha. So here Bhumi, we analyze the Jalam as 4 properties. Now Bhumi has all the 4 properties plus additional property. So what are the 4 properties? First is Shabda. So how do we know Shabda? If you know earthquake, then you know Gadagada Shabda. All the sounds will know. So it has Kadakada Shabda. You can say Gadagada, Kadagada, Badabada, whatever. That Shabdam is property of the Bhumi. Katinyam, so it has a Shabda property. Katinyam sparshaishyate. When you touch it, it is hard. So Katinyam is the hardness associated with the Bhumi is its sparsha. Neeladikam chitra rupam. So which the Neela means the blue, etc. Adi says it's blue, right? All different varieties of colors of this. You know, you have red mud and this mud and that different types of muds, and all are chitra, vichitra rupam. Varieties of colors are part of the Bhumi. Madhuramladiko rasaha. Madhuram, amla. Madhuram is sweetness and sourness, and all these are properties associated with the Bhumi means any matter. Any matter is Bhumi, not only earth. Earth that coming from the from the earth also is part of it. So we have 4 properties already been covered. Then last one, which is special property of Bhumi, is being indicated in the next sloka. Surabhitara gandhau dvau. Surabhitara gandhau dvau. Guna samyak vivechitaha. Samyak vivechitaha. Srotam tvak chakshushi jihva. Tam chakshushi jihva. Granam chendriya panchakam. Nam chendriya panchakam. Together. Surabhitara gandhau dvau. Guna samyak vivechitaha. Srotam tvakchakshushi jihva. Granam chendriya panchakam. Surabhi itara gandhau dvau. There are 2 smells. One is one you like, one you don't like. Those are 2 smells of the earth. So it means that which is pleasant, that which is not pleasant, depending upon. So those are 2 smells associated with the with the earth. Gunaha samyak vivechitaha. These are gunas, qualities of the earth. Samyak vivechitaha. So that we have inquired all the 5 elements, 5 Panchabhutas, each one its special property plus other properties associated with it as kramat, one by one, eka, dvi, tri, and chaturthi and panchami. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 properties are attributions of these Panchabhutas. So in this, the way it's being emphasized is, I can only know material through the property, and I cannot know the real nature of the material other than the property, because the mind has to interact only. Only through transactions I can give the reality for the existence that are perceived as really real there, as a transactional reality, and all this associated with that. If an object has no properties, then I will never know, right? Because I need only properties, so I will not know the existence of the object itself. And Srotam Tvak Chakshushi Jihva Granam Chendriya Panchakam. Along with the properties of the 5 elements that we specified, Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apaha, Prithvi. Now you know Sanskrit words, right? Each one has Sabda, Sparsa, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. So each one is, Sabda is sound, Sparsa is touch, Sparsa, Rupa color, and the Sparsa, Rupa, Rasa is taste, and Gandha is smell. And as these have 5 properties, individual has 5 senses to measure these properties. So that's what he is going to tell in the Srotam Tvak Chakshushi Jihva Granam Cha Indriya Panchakam. These Indriyas, Pancha Indriyas, 5 Indriyas are there for a human being, where he can evaluate the existence of these Panchabhutas through perceptual process, through these Indriyas. Follow now? I need to have sense organs. The world has properties of these 5 properties that corresponds to these 5 sense organs, and I have to sense those properties. Without my sensing it, even though they have these properties, I won't know. Right? If my mind goes bad, or in the deep sleep state, even though all those properties are listed, there is no interaction because my senses are not sensing those properties. So I should have equivalent senses, 5 senses, each separate, in order to distinguish each one. You follow? No? Now this is called pramana. Pramana means a means of knowledge. So what is a means of knowledge? How do you know? I can see. That's what you say, right? I saw him. How do you know? I saw. I see. So this is called eyewitness account. So whatever I see is there. Because in the past, whatever I see, I have transacted with it. Therefore, it was there. So somebody will say that you didn't, there is no, it was a hallucination. I say there is a ghost out there. Because I can see ghost. Just because I see it doesn't mean that it's not there, unless I transact with the ghost, and then there may be real ghost or whoever. So that transactability is the reality is established more by transactability, but that itself is not real. What is real is essentially what remains the same in all periods of time alone is real, which is existence alone. Now, this knowledge we have to use to see the God now, because I don't have any other way of knowing God. Please remember, this is all, that's not, Viveka has to be used. In every transaction, I have these 5 senses operating. Through 5 senses, I am operating the world. And what is the world? Existence alone is now expressing in the form of world. And that existence expressing in different these 5 respective properties are showing. And my senses have to gather those properties. So if you look at this, I have to apply this Viveka in every perception, in every hearing, in every tasting, in every touching, in every smelling. I am smelling really what? Superficial property plus the substantive existence of the Lord. You follow now? This is the Viveka. Now, otherwise I won't know, because a statement is existence alone was there before and it became many now. So I cannot go and see where is that existence alone. I cannot see. Its existence only in varieties, forms are only there. So in and through the forms I had to see existence now. Or I cannot see existence. Therefore understand through Viveka. Viveka means discriminative intellect, to see what is real and what is unreal through whatever I see. Because in whatever I see, there are two things there, intermingling together all the time, where existence itself is expressing in different names and forms. Now, how far, where do we have to go to see? Should I sit in a seat of meditation to see? Don't disturb me, I want to see. Why? I cannot see Lord outside, therefore I have to close my eyes to see. Not that you shouldn't meditate, but now what is meditation also has to be understood. I can close my eyes and see. That is the reflection of that only. I can open my eyes and still see, because it is there. Pratibodha viditam matam. In the Kenopanishad, it says it is being known through every knowledge that takes place. Every knowledge takes place through the five senses only. Through pratyaksha pramana. So now we follow what the whole story is about. So Niladikam Chittarupa Madhuramladiko Rasam. So the properties of everyone is Guna Samyak Vivechitaha have been exhaustively described in this process, inquired or discriminated, where Srotram, Tvak, Chakshushi, Jihva, Granam, Chendriya, Panchakam. So I have five senses in order to grasp this. But senses are also subtle. They are not gross for me to see. What I can really see, eyes I can see, right? Ears I can see, but I don't know whether you are able to hear or not. I cannot see. Right? I don't know. That's why doctor keeps asking, when you go to a doctor's appointment, says this is better or that is better. You get confused so much. He keeps changing the lenses and say previous one is before or previous before and this is better. He keeps confused so much that I think the previous one was before and then no, the other one is before. Why? Why can't he know? I have to tell him, because he cannot see how I can see. Therefore, that which is subtle has to be inferred by, yes, can you see? Yeah, now he is able to see. He has 20/20 vision, because based on what he is saying, I can infer that he has 20/20 vision. Right? So inference comes because of transactability with the senses only. That's what he is going to tell us. Karna deko. Okay. Oh, we are almost ready. Time to stop, I guess. So here the Karna, the goal, what he is going to tell is there are gross locus for these senses to operate. Like ears, through ears only I can hear. Through eyes I can see. Through the skin I can touch. To the tongue only I can taste. I can't even taste with my lips. I have to taste with the tongue only. And through the nose I have to smell. So each one has a specific field of application. Pramana means the means of knowledge. Through eyes only I can see the field of vision only. Through ears I cannot see. So each sense organ operates in its particular field that where it can operate. And each pramana is specific. Pramana means of knowledge is specific. And it can only operate. So remember, Shabda, Sparsa, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, each one is property of increasing property as you go to the earth. So I can sense all those also through different senses as the grosser things can be sensed. Okay? So all these corresponding properties and the corresponding senses are interrelated through a pramana. Pramana is means of knowledge that I can know each one of the Panchabhutas. But each knowledge involves Truth is, each knowledge involves a conscious entity and the world with the properties also. That we will get into next class. So let's do the Purnamada and then we will open the class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.